Welcome to the Shit Show with Joe Bosco, a podcast about pet waste removal franchises served with a side of humor. Hosted by Joe Bosco, the passionate owner of Yardsweepers, this series delves deep into the nitty-gritty of the pet waste removal industry and beyond. Whether you're knee-deep in the business or eyeing a franchise opportunity, we've got you in the little black bag. And here's your host, Joe Bosco.
Here we go. Welcome to the Shit Show, episode 4, and we have a special guest for you. My daughter Victoria has joined the podcast.
Hi.
Welcome, Victoria.
And those applause didn't go good.
Oh, you wanted me to hit applause?
No. He was just curious if you had a sound effect.
Woo, yeah.
Very timely. One
The
job, you
audience
just
is-
had to hit the button.
That audience is very excited.
Oh, where are they? Like, I wonder what that's from. Like, you ever think like those is like from an episode of Good Times? They just kept it from the 70s.
No, I think they took a bunch of single people applauding and then they just merged them all together and made one sound effect. And that one dude really committed
It was
to it.
more of yelling than it was even clapping, I feel like.
Yeah, I didn't really, I wasn't really feeling it. Yeah. So, this is episode 4. I think we had a lot of fun on episode... Hello? Bueller? I think we had a lot of fun on episode 3. I think we didn't talk enough about franchising. So, I guess my first question to everybody, to all 32 of you listening...
32, wow.
Who's
20 more than I was expecting.
It's 31
What?
more than I was expecting.
We're growing in leaps and bounds, people. You don't feel it. I feel it. But I just wanted to say, this is about franchising. It's, I want to have fun. I'm not going to do it if I'm not going to laugh. It's fun to have my family. It's fun to have good friends. Fun to have Joe because he's awesome. If you want to do a podcast, call Joe. I think we talked about 17 hats. I think we did a good job with that. I think that I would love to have them as our sponsor. Just jump in, Victoria, with those. Just feel that microphone in front of you is meant you can talk with. That's a talking device. They hear you when you talk. So I think just having a franchise. I mean, who's going to take a risk? Who's going to be the first one that says, you know what, I'm going to do it? And I can't express to you enough that I've done this, and I can tell you it's successful if you just follow simple directions that I am here to give you. I think the investment is small.
Yes, you have run this business successfully for 16 years.
18 years.
18
Yes.
years.
March was 18 years. Yeah.
How did I lose 2 years?
That happens. COVID.
You said 16 last time, and then
Oh, maybe I always thought it was 16.
so. It's
You
you're
basically-
undermining the operation is what you're doing.
well, no,
So
last
18 was the
episode,
correct-
This is your
Brian.
first and last episode.
if you think about it, Joe, when you started Yardsweepers, it was a newborn baby.
Oh.
Now you are waving goodbye as he goes off to college.
I'm
It's
emotional.
4 years old, a newborn baby. You were
What?
18 years ago. I was 4.
So we doing math?
You didn't
now?
have a newborn baby.
So it's a math.
He
this is
didn't
a
have
math
a newborn
podcast.
baby.
He ran the business for 18 years, so when it started at year 1,
It was newborn.
it was
Oh, the
newborn.
business.
The
Okay,
business.
if we got
Not
to
our
explain
children.
everything, it's going to be a long
I'm a little
episode.
nervous.
A little, yeah, I could tell. Okay, so who's ready to take a risk? Who's going to be the first one that emails me or calls me and says, hey, Joe, I think I'm ready. Tell me more about it. I've had a few people ask me, but, we got everything done I think about 8 months ago, so we're ready, turnkey. You guys come in, and we start you off running the business, and it's attainable at a cheap price, I think. Cheap. Well, cheap's not a good word. At a fair price. How about that? A fair price to own your own business. Be your own boss. 9 to 5? Peh. We don't care about 9 to 5s. We don't.
Right.
We
It's a
don't.
worthy investment.
Oh, gosh. I mean, the thing is, are you the type of person that would become obsessed with it, right? So if you start something and you leave your 9 to 5 and all of a sudden you see this thing that's a side hustle, I'll say it again, a side hustle that could become your main hustle. But when it's a side hustle, you have outs, right? You have other things going on. Once you say, oh, wait a second, I can make this my full-time hustle. And that's what I did over the last 3 years. Just made it, got everything together, put everything in one bag and made it, I think we made it successful. I think your employees are important. There's so many things that are vital to the business. I can't say enough that if you're sitting there on the cusp of going, I don't know what to do. I got this money. there's a little bit of money, or you don't have the money, you got to take out a loan. However you want to do it, do it. Don't be afraid. Take a risk. Trust me, I wish I had several times in my life where I went with my dad and I had this idea of a bagel business. An uncle of mine had a bagel shop, and I loved it.
Really?
Oh, it was awesome. Best bagels, too. And that's what it was called, Best Bagels in Town.
Bosco's
actually.
Bagels.
Bosco's Bagels. Well, this was a franchise, this guy. My uncle bought a franchise, my godfather, actually.
Wait, you know The Godfather?
I know many.
Do we have the theme music, Joe? Just on standby? No? Okay.
Yeah.
That's not
Starring
The Godfather.
The Godfather.
I don't think you've ever seen that film, Joe.
That's not how it goes.
Close
No,
enough.
not even close. So, where was I?
Godfather.
Godfather.
Bagels.
So my
best
uncle,
bagels.
my uncle was running this thing. I said, me and my wife, no kids. I said, what do you think? She's like, I hate the idea, but I said, well, I'm gonna give it a shot and just go with my uncle and learn the business. So I did it for about 6 months. Went with him, woke up 3:30 in the morning, got there, made the bagels, met people, and did the business. And I knew right then, I knew for me that this is what I want to do. I want to run something. And not necessarily, I thought it was a bagel shop at the time. Turns out, obviously it wasn't. It was dog shit. But
Little
whatever, right, whatever it is. Well,
Just a slight variance.
One's edible, one isn't.
Well, poop pills.
Poop pills.
Also, bagels eventually turn into.
One way or another.
One way or
it gets
another.
there.
It's all
That's a
the
good point.
same.
That's a good point. So I do want to bring up a story, and I'm taking a lot of flack for this story because they're saying people around me are saying what.
I just was trying to think of something funny people around you were saying, so I thought I'd censor it. But
And they're saying that they don't think this story is relevant. So I make it relevant in the fact that it was a shit show when it happened. So when this happened when I was 16 years old, it was a shit show. So I think that's my lead in. So when I was 16 years old, I had braces put on when I was 15. It's late for a kid to have braces. So my mother had taken me to a place where the younger, like it was like 8 to 10 to 12-year-olds, like that was the theme, right, around the office. And I'm 16. I'm not a baby. Hated it. Every time I had to go to get it tightened, which if you've ever had braces, when they get tightened the next day or 2 days after, it's brutal on your mouth.
So you're 16 years old walking into an office with like painted flowers smiling on the wall.
and this little
you're just
music.
Like, where
Everybody's
am
like,
I?
Hi, Joey. I'm like, no,
Joey.
I'm Joe. Not Joey. You want a lollipop? No.
Let's
Yeah.
get your teeth fixed, Joey.
That was very weird. They had a cooler of Coca-Cola in the office. Like, you think you're taking care of your teeth, but you were such a good patient. Here's a Coca-Cola.
Right.
I remember that. Like, why would nobody ever
Keep you
question
coming
that?
back.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks. That was,
It was that like 80 years ago? 85?
she really.
So they
pulled
had
out.
Coca-Cola back then.
Oh, that's hurtful.
Back in
Back in
the
the 20s.
1830s.
That's original Coke when they really use Coke. Just saying. So I'm going through this for about 2 years, and I just hated the whole thought of going there and then the tightness, and it was not a good experience because when you're 16, you know everything. So I'm not sure what made me make this decision, but 2 years into my braces, my parents probably spent a couple of grand at that point. I decided to go in the bathroom with a couple of tools, a needle nose pliers, and a flathead screwdriver. And my goal was to take these things off before I left. I've just taken them off. I didn't care.
You decided against the Phillips head. I assume.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
it was jagged. I could injure myself. Not that this wouldn't injure me, but so I just proceeded to cut if you have braces, you cut the wire that connects them all, that gets tightened. I cut that one, pulled the wire out, took the flathead, and just each tooth just.
You are joking.
Oh no, I did that. I was 16. I'm not proud of it now. In the moment, though, I thought, hey, I'm going to show my mom. I'm not playing around anymore. I'm serious. Like, that would work. And what was I thinking? Anyway, so to make a long story short, I took them off. Took all the stuff, got it in the garbage can, got rid of everything. Boom, I have no brain. I have these little glue spots, but I'm happy. I'm thrilled that I don't have these things on my teeth anymore.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah, this is before Invisalign. So I don't say anything. So a couple days go by, a couple weeks go by. Hey, Joe, your appointment at the dentist, we got to go. I'm like, oh.
Wait, hold on. Can I pause for a second?
You can. Wait, is there a button, Joe? Pause button? No. Okay. Good.
I did it.
You single-handedly, as a 16-year-old, ripped off your braces.
Ripped off, pulled off.
Sure, whatever.
You're right.
Threw them away.
Correct.
And you didn't say anything.
Oh no.
Right. But people can still see your mouth.
Correct. If you're paying attention.
How did you hide the fact that you didn't have braces for several weeks from mom and dad?
The only struggle was dinner. That was the only time because we ate together.
Lunch
you
wasn't
had
a struggle, though.
What did you
What?
do?
What?
What?
I didn't hear what you
Lunch
said.
wasn't a struggle?
No, because I didn't sit down with my parents. With dinner, we sat down. So, like, my dad, my mom. So you would
what?
think they would notice
When you
that I
talked
didn't.
to them, did you face away from them?
This is
I
what
never
I'm
thought,
wondering.
I never thought about it.
Hey, guys.
I didn't. It wasn't like I spoke to my parents like 40 minutes every day. I mean, it was 16. I was in and out of the house.
Did your parents ever look you in the eyes and talk with you at some point in those 2 weeks?
Probably, but nobody noticed. I mean, it went unnoticed.
For
clearly.
2 weeks?
At least 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Because the reason I took them off is because I just had them tightened and they were killing me. So that was one of the big reasons. So I knew the appointment wouldn't be for another 3 weeks. Anyway, dinner. Hey, Joe, tomorrow's the appointment. I'm like, oh, okay. So I got all night to think about it. The next day, it's like appointments at whatever, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, she's like, all right, you ready? I'm like, Ma, I kind of got something to tell you. And I tried, and I'm trying to bring notice to my face here. Like she would just say, nothing. I'm like, Ma,
wow,
I don't have my braces anymore. She's like, what? Did you lose? Like, because you had a retainer.
I don't know.
Well, because you had
losing your
retainer.
wallet. Yeah, I lost my braces.
You had a retainer. I used to lose those all the time.
I'm sorry.
A
You had a-
retainer.
you had a what?
retainer. A retainer.
Retainer.
What's a retainer?
That's what you put
retainer,
a high-end lawyer on. When you
Oh,
do
a
services.
retainer. He's
retainer.
got a retainer.
A retainer. That's the thing that you put in your mouth. It's
Oh, a retainer.
A retainer. Right. That's what I said. Retainer.
Man, people parented way differently in the
so-
30s.
Roaring 20s.
So I said, she said, what do you mean you lost them? I'm like, well, I took them off. She's like, she's like, open your mouth, open mouth. She's like, you said, and we ran a little bit because I didn't want her to catch me. She would have beat the crap out of me. So I ran outside and wait till your dad gets home. I'm like, whatever. And my dad came home. Anyway, it was a real shit show in my house for a time because I removed my braces on my own. That's a true story.
You had to be like bloodied up.
Yeah, a couple of times. You get a little because one won't come off. So I was ended up taking I'm taking the needle nose and I'm like like trying to tap it off.
Nobody
And
heard you? Were you home
I was in the
alone?
bathroom. I locked the door. You remember Grandma's old house? So I chip them off, and every once in a while the screwdriver would give me a gum shot. I'm like,
Good thing you went
"Oh."
flathead, though.
Yeah.
You know?
What I didn't clean it or anything. Like you would think I would sterilize it. It was going in my mouth. I never did. I don't know why.
You didn't chip any teeth?
No, I chipped in different ways. Not that
That's
event.
impressive.
Did you get your braces put back on? Or was that your parents were like, that's it?
No, it was not chance.
So did you show up to the
So
4
you
o'clock
won.
appointment? Or
We didn't go. I don't know
Victory.
if she canceled it. I have no idea. But
all right. Well, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So your 2 kids are sitting here.
Correct.
You're a father.
I am.
I assume you've invested some money in your kids' lives.
Yes.
Have you guys had braces?
Yes, both of us
Mm-hmm.
for many years,
They loved them too.
and
Big
they
fans.
would tighten them, and we wouldn't take them off ourselves.
So if roles were reversed, Joe, you come home. It's now Douglas's turn for his monthly checkup, and he looks at you and says that.
Problem.
What happens then?
Big problem.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't
But
be.
like
I don't
father,
think
like
I'd be
son.
here today.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would do
If you
first.
chased him, would you be able to catch him?
Back then,
Back
Probably
then,
not
no,
today,
but
maybe.
now, very easily.
What are you saying? Doug lost a step?
and gained a couple of lbs.
Something tells me you were quite speedy in your youth.
Yeah, well, I was a soccer player, so I was
there
a
you go.
little bit of a big.
So
show.
because you played soccer, you're fast.
and you were a lot bigger back then too.
Hey, when did this?
Then you
why
guys
did-
like switch roles or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 350 pounds.
Now I'm 300.
That's
Doug's
the
getting up there.
Doug's at 290 and pushing.
Okay.
Did I tell you that I died story? I don't know if I told you guys that story, but anyway, that's for another time. I died. Anyway.
I do
Bingo.
know.
Yeah.
I do know part of that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next
I
episode.
don't think I know the full story. I definitely
Yeah.
want to hear that full story at some point.
It's very involved.
Good one.
I died.
But transitioning off of that story, I think it's time for our weekly game.
Oh, let's go.
Bringing back You got game show music?
I don't think he's not very. Joe, did you have a late night?
We are bringing back, by popular demand, just kidding. I don't know if there's any demand for it, but Two Truths and a Lie.
All 6 people.
28 people listening.
Please stop that, please.
But I need to be honest.
Hold on, wait. I can't afford to license the song from The Godfather. I had to pull that down.
Oh.
That wasn't.
So I know this might be shocking, but the amount of content that I can pull regarding dogs and amazing dog facts and dog poop, there's not much out there. I feel like, that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
That greyhound has run away. So
Tail
Are we
between its
branching
legs.
out?
we're branching out.
Oh.
It's still the same game and it's still the same rules, but
Who's
the category, all 3 of you will play. Why not?
Don't cheat.
I'm
Yeah.
going to share 3 stories. 2
You
of
get the
them
rules right.
are true. One of them is
Two
not.
are
Wait.
true.
What?
2 are true.
2 are true, 1 is not.
2
All right.
are 100% true.
All right. I gotta get it from my
1 is
labyrinth.
not.
Dad's like, so do I tell you the 2 truths? Or how do
Do
I don't
tell
think I
you
said
the
it like that.
And the category this time, honestly, because Joe, you shared this story from your youth, 16 years old, ripping off your own braces. I've never heard any human being ever do. I didn't know you could even do that, to be honest.
I didn't either. When I went in, I had no idea. Like, I just went in with a couple of tools. And
You
it
got to
turned
be
out-
one of the only people to have
You commit.
No, I guarantee you, out of the 33 people that are listening right now, somebody has thought about it.
Do we have a new listener? It was 32.
Yeah, we just got one.
Welcome, Janine from Tulsa.
Oh, from Tulsa. We love Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Woo! Shout out to Tulsa.
Ooh, there's a lot of dog poop in Tulsa.
Ooh, shit's
All right.
piling up.
Moving on. So the category this time, I'm going to take a page from your book, Joe. I'm going to share 3 stories about myself and my youth. And the category, the
You
theme.
grew up in Florida, right?
I did. I grew up all over the place, but the theme is places I worked when I was a kid that I effectively got fired from.
Okay.
I'm going to share 3
Two
stories.
True, 2 is 2 of them.
2 are true.
It rhymes, right? 2 true, 1 lie.
She's just mean. I mean, I don't know.
I can't believe
it's a
it's
streak that
easily
runs
the
through my
simplest
daughter.
game
It's this
that I've
mean.
ever
I
played.
mean, I love her, but this is mean streak thing.
All right.
Listen to Brian.
Job number 1. When I was 13 years old, I worked for a newspaper company. I was a paper boy. Joe, you remember that game?
You're on the corner. Get your news here.
Newsy.
I was a bit of a newsie, yes. And I one day, mainly out of frustration and anger, broke a rule, a ridiculous rule that they had. And I effectively got fired.
What's the rule?
The rule
Don't throw away
was
the papers.
You're really going to make me go there.
I had to walk the entire
Walk? Did you sound the L there? Walk? It's walk.
I'm sorry?
Can we
It's
finish the
walk.
story?
It's not walk.
Walk.
There's no walk.
I don't think he
There
went,
is
wow.
there is an L in that word.
It's correct, but it's silent.
It's not
hard-
walk.
Not
I'm
silent.
not I'm
It's
not
silent.
I'm not
Walk.
cooking rice in a wok. I'm walking.
It's a different word.
The Ellen walk is
Walk.
not silent.
It is.
It's
Walk.
very much there.
I've never
Walk.
said walk.
Walk.
Christopher
I would love to
walking.
hear the rest of this story.
Thank you, Victoria. I would love to tell it.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I had to use my feet and travel around. I was not allowed to use a bicycle.
Walking.
Can you
in
tell the rest of this in a Christopher Walken accent, please?
Oh my goodness. I can't do that.
Walking.
Was not
See?
allowed to use my bike or certainly not allowed to ride in a car. And my sister felt bad for me one day because it was pouring down rain and she was like, just hop in the car. She drove. I didn't. And so there I am in the passenger seat, window down. I'm just chucking newspapers.
Oh, that
I
was the
don't
rule
think
you
I
broke?
landed. Yeah, I don't think I landed one in the right spot. I'm pretty sure some were still in the street and then just went down the drain because it was raining.
Gotcha.
And then they followed up on me and I got fired. Story number 1.
He's taking notes because he's not going to be able to remember the first one.
Hey, my short term. I died. I don't know if you heard. I died.
Is that your
We
go-to
haven't even
for
finished. Like,
It
we haven't
died.
even been able to figure out the 2 truths.
Okay,
Because
so
he only
that's,
told us one. How could you figure out 2?
All he
Because
wrote
you're
was
dumb.
paper boy. He wrote paper boy, and then he wrote no.
It's not what I wrote. It's
I'm
shorthand.
tracking what he's writing. No,
It's
that
a
is not shorthand.
big day?
August 1st, 30 days away.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
So today we're going to be looking at an apartment that includes all the amenities that you guys asked for. Do you have a washer and dryer?
No, we do not.
That's okay. We have facilities and you can also rent from us. Oh, this is one of our residents, Howard.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm just out here taking Regis and Kathy Lee here for a walk.
Yeah, and I'm just showing them an apartment today.
Oh, great. That means the three of us need to probably find a new spot. All right, see you later.
Oh, this also reminds me, we are extremely pet friendly. Do either of you have pets?
No, we don't.
That may change as soon as you move into this community. Oh, what happened? I was just leaving you a little present. See, I have this for you. This little bag. Scoop it up and put it right in there.
Is this normal? What the crap?
You have got to be kidding me. Let's get out of here.
But we're pet friendly. Lost another one.
You know, it didn't have to be this way. Don't lose leases because of the feces. Yardsweepers. #1 in the #2 business.
All right, story number 2. I was 16 years old. I accidentally blew up a can of chili at a movie theater, and I effectively shut it down for 3 days.
Okay.
And I got fired.
Got it. I would assume. That's a stretch, but okay.
Story number 3. I am now 19 years old. I worked for a collegiate painting company. We would just go around and paint people's houses. It was a college job. I was up high on like one of those extended ladders, painting a house like really up high. And my buddy that I worked with just flung some paint on my face while I was up there. And I was like, oh, nah. So I went to fling some back at him, slipped. The whole ladder fell backwards. Thankfully, I fell in the homeowner's pool along with the paint can and the brush.
Because you were really high at work, so.
And I was high up. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
And I was effectively fired.
So painting.
I believe all of those.
No, I know. I know. I have a lock on
2 of those stories are absolutely true. 1 is not. Who would like to guess first?
Let's go over the notes first here.
I'm last. Don't even look at my paper.
Okay.
Ladies first. I feel like Victoria, you're new on the show. I feel like you should go first.
I think that the chili story is the lie.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna go with.
Mr.
It's my
Douglas
gut.
Bosco.
Can I ask a question?
Would we? I'm okay with it.
One question.
You can ask a question.
How did you blow up the chili? I don't understand. How did the chili blow up? Like microwave? Or
It was put in a pizza oven and it was still sealed. And at the time, I did not know how science actually worked.
Right.
that sounds specific.
That sounds true.
All right, so you can't
No,
change your
I'm not changing.
No, I'm going Paperboy.
Okay. And
false.
And Mr. Joe.
100% agree.
You okay?
Wow, we agree again.
Yep.
So you both believe that the Paperboy story is a lie.
Correct.
And Victoria, you believe that the chili story
Yes.
is the lie. Well, moment of truth. The third story was the lie.
Oh, we're all wrong.
While I did work for a collegiate painting company, I never fell off. I never had paint thrown in my face, and I certainly never fell in a pool. I actually worked there for a good while, and then I eventually quit.
I knew the chili one because you told me that story, so I had insider info on that.
Yeah, didn't Rallywood close down for a while after that?
You shut that down.
Yeah, I can share the full story now if you would like.
Yes, please.
So I'm working at this movie theater called Rallywood. It was, at the time, a very swanky, new-style movie theater because you actually got to eat food while you watched a movie.
Really, really bad food, like chili from a can food.
Well, yes,
So
literally.
more than popcorn, basically. Is.
Was it in Raleigh?
It was in Raleigh, and it was
called Rallywood.
It was an exciting theater with 2 theaters. Well, I was working in the kitchen as a 16-year-old. All I'd done up to this point was appetizers. Well, this coming Saturday, they said, hey, Brian, we are going to promote you to the main lines. And I was very excited because I was sick of doing the appetizers.
Of course.
They said, show up at this time on Saturday before we open and we'll train you, blah, blah. I'm like, sweet. I get there early. I walk in. The person that's supposed to train me is not there. I'm looking around. Nobody's there. The only person that's there is, and I want to make sure I get this right, the owner's daughter's boyfriend, who was a complete jackwagon. Wore like an Italian suit every day to Raleighwood to show that because he was the manager of Raleighwood.
Hey, you gotta.
And he's like, "Where's so and so? Where's so and so?" I'm 16. I'm like, "I don't know. They told me to get here early to train me." He's like, "Oh," and he's cussing up a storm. He's like, "We got to prep for the matinees. Do this, do this, do this." And one thing he says for me to do,
he's the godfather.
And I want to remind you guys, I'd never done any of this prep before. Okay, I'd never been a part of this team. One of the things he says is heat up some chili. I remember that distinctly. Heat up some chili. And I'm like, heat up some chili. Okay. I go in the pantry and I find one of those giant, at Raleighwood, they had the giant cans, not like the little cans, these giant cans
like
of
government
chili.
issued.
like the big bulk chilies, right? And okay, so now in retrospect, I know that movie theater had one of those giant can openers, the kind that you put on there, you slam down. I don't know if you guys are familiar. You spin the top. I didn't know what that was. I'd never seen that when I was 16.
But you knew it was there.
No, I never even saw it.
Okay.
The only can opener I'd ever seen or used is the tiny little one that my mom had, right? So I get the can. I don't see a can opener. And I go over to the pizza oven and I open up the big, like, steel flap. And I remember he was down at the appetizers. I was on the other side. I put it up on the lid. And I looked at him and said, "Hey, put this chili in here." And he goes, yeah. So I shoved the unopened can of chili into the pizza oven. And I closed the door. And then I promptly forgot about it. The guys eventually showed up. They were like, "We're so sorry. We got busy. We'll train you next week. You're going to have to do abs again this week." I'm like, "That's fine. That's fine." Thank God I was doing abs because I was as far from the pizza oven as I could possibly be in that little kitchen. I'm over there. We're in the middle of a big matinee. I hear the loudest sound I've ever heard in my life.
Did you know right away you screwed up?
No, I did not know right away. I hear waitresses screaming. I remember there was smoke and the fire alarm went off. I hit the deck and I'm crawling out like an army guy. I don't know what happened. I thought we got bombed.
Right?
We're out there. It was snowing outside. I remember that. So it was sometime in the winter. They evacuate both, theaters. All the people that were watching the movies are out there. All the wait staff is out there, everyone. And as I'm looking around, I start to see, excuse me, orange stains on the white blouses of the wait staff.
Severe burns.
And I was like, and then it hit me. I was like,
"That's my chili.
Oh my God.
Chili.
The chili that I put in the pizza oven." And that's what happened. It exploded. This was several hours later.
Did it ruin the oven? I mean,
boiling hot chili. I don't know. Boiling hot chili.
Well, you weren't fired.
Sprayed, no, across the kitchen, through the expedite window, hitting the waitresses on the other side. It was them screaming because some of it hit their skin as well. Oh. And then, as I'm putting it all together, that's when I see the owner's daughter's boyfriend wearing his Italian suit. He comes out. He's got chili all over his suit. And he walks out with the firefighters. He's talking to them. And he looks at me. Now, I don't want to quote him exactly. Right. I'm not going to quote him exactly. But he looked at me and goes, "In the oven, you put the chili in the..." And then this is where a beep would come in, Joe. You put the chili in the...
Oh, I'm not on the right page.
Oh, come on.
All right, do it again.
In the oven, you put the chili in the oven. And I said, I said,
what the? I said, what the?
I didn't know what I'm doing. And he's like, and he goes back in to talk to the firefighters. And ultimately,
he got his. Karma's a bitch.
I got fired, but also quit.
Did you get fired on the moment? Like,
no. I quickly got out of there. And then just ultimately never went back.
Today, there would have been 19 lawsuits. Oh, it touched me. I got burned.
And the best part is, fast forward many, many years later, I have a buddy named Adam who I went to high school with. I'm in college now. I'm home for Christmas, and I'm hanging out with another high school friend. He said, "Hey, guess who's coming? Adam is going to show up tonight." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited to see him." All I knew about Adam at this point was that he was currently the head chef at Raleighwood, getting hired there.
Chef. That's a strong word.
Yes, that was his title. Getting hired there years after I worked there. And sure enough, Adam walks in. I haven't seen the guy in years. And he looks at me, he walks up to the table, and the first thing he says is, dude, there's still chili on the ceiling. He said that it sprayed the white ceiling, this orange stain that they could not clean off.
It was an orange U.
Yeah, they still talk about it to this day.
Awesome.
That's the Raleighwood story.
That's a great story.
That is crazy.
So I do want to end. Thank you, Brian. I do want to end just saying, hey, Doug, I want to ask you a question about franchise. So, Douglas, over the past 6 months, we've chatted about maybe him going to Charlotte and opening up a franchise, a second Yardsweepers location. And he thought about it, but I guess just not ready. You got to learn a lot of things. Douglas has only been doing it for about a year and a half. Maybe in a year he can go do that. But with that being said, one of these franchises can be owned by anybody. So it doesn't have to be a 9-to-5, 45-year-old. It can be somebody that's struggling to figure out what the heck they're going to do. And I know you wouldn't say, I'm going to pick up dog shit, because that makes sense. Everybody's doing it. No. But when you look at this niche, go to my website, look at the franchise information, look at everything we have, and ask me a question. But I can't tell you enough how this can change everything about your life. We wouldn't think, right? When I did it, I'm like, dog shit? No, I'm not doing it. Just not doing it. And 18 years later, I'm like, multi-six figures later saying, what was I thinking? And why didn't I start doing it full-time earlier? So, you live and you learn. But give me a call, send me an email. I'd love to help you guys.
Yeah.
Follow Yardsweepers on Instagram at @yard_sweepers.
Go ahead.
There it is.
More? Is anything else? Where else do you post?
Facebook.
Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Nextdoor. We're on all of those things.
Do we have a MySpace page?
No, I'm not sure that's...
Is that a thing anymore? I mean, I'll do it. I ain't
That was
scared.
back in like the
30s?
1700s.
My young?
Yeah.
When I was...
1700s.
Yeah, so Victoria's running all the social media stuff, and from what people are telling me, she's doing well. So,
Yeah, like that. It's like, I haven't been on the social media myself, but from what people are telling me.
I haven't actually personally.
I mean, I adore social media. Big fan. So, all right. That's episode 4. We love you guys. Episode 5 coming in a week.
Yep. See y'all then.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. This episode is complete. If you want to be number 1 in the number 2 business, be sure to check out yardsweepers.net and learn more about becoming a franchise owner. This podcast is produced at Podcast Carry and brought to you by Yardsweepers. Be sure to subscribe wherever you download your podcasts.